I have another Hillary Clinton clip. So I guess she just doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. And so this is her at Doha. And I'm breaking what she said into different clips because it's a long clip of what she said. So what I'm doing is talking about what she said about invading Iraq, and then I'm going to do another clip breakdown of her talking about Israel.
The argument we often hear, of course, is that America has a different role in the Middle East. Of course, it supports Israel and therefore is complicit to a degree. But I want to draw a line from all of this to 9/11 and America's misadventures after 9/11 and the war in Iraq, the war on terror. And one could make the case that at some level, America's been unable to maybe curb Israel in this particular case, or even impose its will and talk about values and rules and norms and conflicts around the world, in part because it too has skirted rules and norms in several instances in its history. Is it your sense now that we're entering a world where the rules and norms don't matter as much? And what can the United States do?
Look, I think it's an interesting analogy because when a country is attacked, and as you know, I was a senator from New York on 9/11, so I was deeply involved in dealing with families who had lost loved ones, dealing with the people who had been grievously injured, dealing with the horrible cleanup and everything we had to do in Lower Manhattan. That is a traumatic event. And people don't always make the best decisions post-traumatic events. You have to understand that. And I'm not sure that, that was well understood after 9/11 in American decision-making. And I think you can see other examples of that, obviously. That's part of the reason why we established all of these norms and laws after the Second World War. When you talk about how the rule of law, how the expectations of militaries in combat are supposed to be judged, all of that was an effort to try to construct a system that could rein in bad leaders like Vladimir Putin, who wants to dominate and destroy his neighbors, leaders who are traumatized by horrific events and therefore lash out and may not be, restrained and acting the way that they should. That's part of why we constructed this whole system, to move away from norms and laws in the international system will only benefit the worst actors in the international system.
I think it's really interesting that she says, well, 9/11 was really traumatic. And because it was traumatic for us, we decided to instill trauma and complete destabilization of the Middle East for our own greed. It's very odd to me that she says this because immediately what came to my mind is how she's saying it's our mental health. And what immediately came to my mind after that was white male mass shooters who constantly are said, hey, it's the mental health, instead of the actual issue, which is the guns. We always look sideways when the truth is right fucking in front of us. I found very frustrating with this also is when she mentioned after World War II, we enabled all of these different laws and treaties and everything to rein in power because we didn't want what happened in World War II to happen again. Here's the fucking thing. The United States is not part of the International Criminal Court. They haven't signed with the International Criminal Court. That's why you will constantly hear Trump and all of the Zionists say the International Criminal Court are anti-Semitic because they put an arrest warrant out for Netanyahu. Juan Ignacio Rodriguez, legal advisor for the International Institute for Social Responsibility and Human Rights, a Costa Rica-based NGO dedicated to promoting compliance with international human rights standards, said this. This case is complicated because the United States has the peculiarity of not having ratified many international human rights treaties, the expert notes. This is from El País. So since they have not ratified a majority of their international treaties, they can't be properly prosecuted. They can't be properly sent to the fucking Hague. The United States is able to get away with breaking all of these laws because they haven't agreed to these laws. But yet they are considered a superpower. They are considered better than every other country. They are considered a world power, but yet they don't have to follow the laws. That doesn't make much sense. I just find it really fascinating how Hillary Clinton just continues to put her fucking foot in her mouth and continues to show the bloodthirsty demon she is. Like, over 1 million people died in Iraq. Millions of people were displaced. The Middle East destabilized because of the United States. The Taliban has taken over. Y'all fuckers didn't do shit. And yet she expects the United States to get a pass. Most countries have had some form of terror attack. And yet those countries never destabilize the way the United States does.